Noon with those scattered showers expected, but still some fog actually building in this morning. That's your First Bank Texas forecast first. KTAB Daybreak starts now.
With coverage you can count on, this is KTAB News Daybreak.
Good morning and welcome to KTAB Daybreak. I'm Ron Rousseau.
And I'm Kathleen Barkley. Thanks for joining us here this morning. Heavy rainfall continues to top our headlines this morning. The days of rain have saturated the ground, filled up lakes, and now running over some streets in Abilene and roads right here in the Big Country.
The Taylor County Sheriff's Office closed Farm Road 89 just south of Lake Abilene. The lake is full. Sheriff's Office blocked the road after the water ran over the Elm Creek Bridge. Abilene City Street Department crews closed some streets in the city. East-South 5th Street is closed at TNP. That's at Cal Young Park. In North Abilene, from Wall Street. North 10th is closed from Wall to Magnolia. Corsicana is closed from Fairmont to Benbrook. Also, Texas Street from the 4100 block of Grape to the 4100 block of Victoria is closed. East-North 10th Street is closed from Cockrell to Green Valley Drive.
And just down the road, half of the Abilene State Park is closed because of flooding. This is only the third time in the last 10 years any portion of the park had to be closed. KTAB's Claire Kreitz reports from there.
With close to 8 inches of rain and counting this month alone, Lake Abilene is at 100% capacity.
Elm Creek is flooding outside of its banks, and that's causing us a little bit of problems here in the park.
With water flowing over the roads.
If the normal creek channel can handle the water, then we're okay. But as soon as it can't handle that anymore, that's when we say enough's enough.
State park officials decided to close down all camping loops on the south side of Elm Creek, relocating those campers who decided to brave the rain.
Our concern is that people are going to get in here and they're not going to be able to get back out. They're not going to be able to get their camping equipment back out. And we just don't want anybody to be stranded in a situation where it's really difficult for us to help them.
Now park officials are keeping an eye on the water levels for their safety, but also those around the park.
I think the bigger concern is that there could be impacts downstream from us, and so we're just kind of being cautious of that and preparing in case we need to help any of our neighbors.
Hoping for a break in the rain.
Until you can see the yellow lines on the roadway, we'll keep all this shut down.
So the park can reopen. In Tuscola, with coverage you can count on, Claire Kreitz, KTAB News.
Now, it takes about 24 hours for the water in Elm Creek to reach Abilene. The water comes through Buffalo Gap, Wiley, Abilene, and onto Lake Fort Phantom Hill.
All that rain filled up Lytle Lake. This is from the spillway of the neighborhood lake near the intersection of Judge Ely Boulevard at East-South 11th Street. Water goes into Cal Young Park and then on through East Abilene.
And now to Stamford, where we have new video of the lake near the Jones and Haskell County line. This video is from Cedar Ridge Aviation. As much as 5 feet of water has flown over the spillway. Homes on the north side of the lake were flooded earlier this week. Flooding has prompted some late starts for some Big Country school districts. Jim Ned campuses will start 2 hours late. Buses will be running 2 hours later than usual. Winters will start class at 10 o'clock this morning. Buses will also run 2 hours late there. Winters has also canceled all after-school activities. You can see all of this weather information and sign up for emergency alerts at our website, bigcountryhomepage.com.
Our KTAB Daybreak News Time now is 6:02. Coming up, taking off a new career, a longtime Abilene police officer honored for his years of service before he begins flying high, and business and some customers buzzing at some new retail stores across Canada. Our Money Watch report is coming up.
First, though, let's check back in with Dylan for a look at our forecast.
Thanks, Kathleen. Out there this morning, we're dealing with a few things. Flooded roads, some rain, and also some fog. So as you head out the door this morning for work or school, just be aware we are potentially going to be a little bit delayed getting to work. So plan a few extra minutes this morning. Mid to upper 40s to start your day with some decent rain chances throughout the rest of today as well. I'll look at that forecast coming up next.
Now, meteorologist Dylan Smith with your Weather Authority forecast.
All right, much of the same as we've seen throughout the week. Got to kind of plan an extra few minutes if you're heading out the door this morning.
Yeah, we have some fog starting to form out there this morning. It's one of the big kind of problems we're going to be seeing today. Also some flooded roads, more so than the past few days, and more rain. I know, I'm back in the forecast. Everybody's telling me, when will it stop? When is it stopping? Well, this weekend.
All right, that's when we get the break.
Yes, but until then, don't expect much else. Let's take a look at what's going on across the U.S. Again, Texas, one of the targets for more rain, more showers, and that is also kind of focused here in the big country. You can see kind of West Texas and up in the Panhandle. So unfortunately, we are kind of the target for more rain today, and luckily it's going to be a little bit less in every aspect of what we saw yesterday. Yesterday it was a little bit heavier. It's also much longer duration and more widespread. Today, at least so far this morning, a little bit weaker, also a little bit less widespread, and it won't last as long in general. But the fog is starting to build. You see that low-level cloud essentially descending on the key city here in Abilene, and again, the roads are very wet, also a little bit flooded in some spots, so plan a few extra minutes to get to work or school this morning. You might need them just in case. Upper 40s out there this morning for Abilene. Winds nice and light. It's one of the reasons we're seeing that fog start to form, only about 5 to 10 miles an hour for a lot of us, and temperature is almost identical to yesterday to start mid to upper 40s for almost everyone. However, instead of dropping today, they're actually going to start climbing back to those mid-50s this afternoon. And as well, we do have more flood warnings in effect. Aerial flood warnings in effect for the darker green counties here for most of the day today. Flood warnings actually in effect for all these little boxes here. For mostly rivers, these are river flood warnings in general. Runnels, Jones, Haskell, and Shackelford, and over in Comanche County, seeing some flooding along river banks and things like that as well. The lighter green also flash flood warnings for today. So as rain falls, the ground is very saturated. It could easily become a quick flooding situation in parts of the big country. For today, though, the good news is you can see most of the rain out west for the morning. By the afternoon, maybe seeing a few showers, and that will continue to actually build by the overnight hours. But most of the day today, if anything, we'll be seeing some light mist or nothing, and then might see a couple of passing heavier showers. But that is about the extent of what we're expecting today. So less overall rain in the forecast for today, but still seeing some in the forecast in general. Mid-50s out there this afternoon, about a 40% chance for rain throughout the day. Brownwood today as well, mid-50s for you guys, a 60% chance for the heartland. I know everybody's seeing a lot of rain, but luckily by the weekend and early next week, rain chances do start to fade out. However, next week, middle of the week, we are looking at a pretty healthy rain chance again. Kathleen, over to you.
All right, thanks, Dylan. Facebook has determined the source of hackers who got private information from about 30 million users, and health experts are working to find the source of some foodborne illness. Diane King Hall has this morning's Money Watch report.
Facebook says spammers and not a nation state were behind the recent hack of 30 million users. The Wall Street Journal spoke to people familiar with the investigation. They say the group was looking to make money through deceptive advertising. Facebook is cooperating with the FBI on a criminal probe. Meanwhile, more than 90 people in 29 states have been infected with a drug-resistant strain of salmonella. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says the strain has been identified in a variety of raw chicken products and in live chickens. A source of the infected poultry has yet to be identified. And Canada made it through its first day with legalized marijuana. Marijuana dealers are concerned that supply may not meet early demand levels, but expected to stabilize over the next few weeks. On Wall Street, pot stocks were mixed yesterday as many investors decided to cash in after major gains over the past year. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane King Hall.
The time now is 6:10. Still ahead this morning, it's official. Abilene is the storybook capital of America, what this honor means for the key city. And man's best friend can sit, stay, and even sniff out fire starters. KTAB Jessica Rank reports when we come back.
Good morning. How will people really know who we are? Well, let's take, for example, I'm wearing a sheriff's badge. This didn't come just in a box of Cracker Jacks. It's really a sheriff's badge that Jack Deacon gave to me a number of years ago, along with an actual, I didn't wear it today, sheriff's shirt. But you know what? I can wear this badge around. I can wear the shirt. I can put on the hat. I do it at our fall festival, Trunk or Treat, and I'd invite you to that. On Wednesday, October 31st, I dress as the sheriff, but I'm not a sheriff. I might in some ways imitate one, but I'm not. Or what about this? Huh? Oops, upside down. What about this? I'm a Christian, you know? And so I wear this around, hoping people will know who I am, but I don't know. How is it that people will know that we're a follower of Christ? He said that others will know that you follow me by the way you love each other. And so it is more than, you know, trying to be pious and wear a sign. People will know today that you're a follower of His by the way you forgive, by the way you love, by the way you speak to another person with kindness and compassion, the way you refrain from judging, the way you'll walk away today from a group that's putting other people down, that you won't criticize other people. Today, you see, people can know that we're His followers today. We don't have to have a badge or a nameplate today. They can know who we are by how we live.
Now, meteorologist Dylan Smith with your Weather Authority forecast.
Looking out at Max Live radar this morning, just be aware we are looking at a fairly wet start to the day for some as we do head into this Thursday morning. So just be aware again, things are looking at a little bit foggy as well, a little bit wet out there as we are expecting more rain throughout the day today with temperatures right now in the mid to upper 40s. Things are looking a little bit chilly, but luckily not as wet as yesterday morning, although there is plenty of water left over from yesterday. Rain chances today about half as big as yesterday, about 40% for a lot of us. That lack of rain all day is going to let us warm back up to those mid to upper 50s this afternoon as we do head into the afternoon hours. So again, very pleasant afternoon, a little bit on the cool side, but not as wet all day. So I think that'll set well with a lot of you guys. Unfortunately, rain chances still in through tomorrow. So just something we have to deal with through at least tomorrow before the weekend. I'll look at that forecast coming up in a few minutes. But first, let's send it back to the desk.
Thank you, Dylan. State Farm Insurance is working with the State Fire Marshal's office to train dogs to help with fire investigations.
KTAB's Jessica Rank is in Brownwood with more.
In my eyes, she was the most beautiful dog that was there.
A man's best friend. Buddy Preston and Nika have been partners for 8 years now, sharing a bond that goes beyond a normal relationship.
She tells me she is a tool in my toolbox.
The tool? Her nose. used to help solve arson-related crimes, a trait that the Arson Dog Program Coordinator says is a superpower.
They smell in parts per trillion, way better than any human being can. So they can very effectively and efficiently go into a fire scene, locate where there may be evidence, that turns into a case, and hopefully we're able to put more arsonists behind bars. So these literally are four-legged crime fighters.
And ones that have helped solve more than 40% of arson cases. But in their off time, they're just like any other dog.
When we're at home, she gets a chance to be a dog. We play fetch in the backyard. She chases birds in the backyard.
Creating a relationship between the handler and dog that some say is unbreakable.
A lot of the handlers joke that they spend more times with their dog than they do with their family.
She's the best dog that I have ever owned in my life. And I don't own the dog owns me. We are tied together. So she's just, she's part of me and my family.
Nika. Good girl. Great story. That course continues today.
And some big changes at the Abilene Police Department. Lieutenant Lynn Beard has retired after 20 years with the Abilene Police Department. Lieutenant Beard most recently with the Patrol Division, but has worked as an investigator in several high-profile cases. Beard will now transition into another career he's passionate about. He'll be the new general manager at Abilene Aero. And that's not the only change, though. Detective Ernie Moscarelli has been promoted to sergeant, and Scott Hill now a lieutenant.
Abilene now is the storybook capital of America. We've been the storybook capital of Texas for a few years, but now we have the national title for the city's work on the Children's Literacy Festival and all the sculptures at Everman Park and other areas downtown. The new title was announced Wednesday after the Hearts for the Arts luncheon. October 17th is also the Storybook Capital of America Day. Our KTAB Daybreak News time now 6:17. Please stay with us. The rain continues throughout the big country. KTAB's Claire Kreitz shows us how it's affecting the Abilene State Park. And we have a guest from the Abilene Community Band to tell us about an upcoming concert.
That's all still ahead, but first let's check back in with Dylan for another look at our forecast.
Thanks, Kathleen. As you head out the door, plan for a few extra minutes this morning as fog has still some flooded roads and more rain in the forecast. All could cause some problems this morning. I'll have a look at that forecast coming up next.
Nine, 10.
If it's snow and not ice.
Did they get
Now, meteorologist Dylan Smith with your Weather Authority forecast.
We are finally looking at maybe a small break from rain today, but still going to be fairly wet all day, as we are still kind of that target area for some showers, mostly showers here in the Big Country. For basically the entire U.S., we're really the only area seeing some rain, and it doesn't even look that impressive, thankfully. I mean, yesterday we did see some heavier showers in the morning, but this morning things actually starting to move up to the north. Couple of very light stuff and things starting to build back in from the south, but things are looking a little bit drier, at least when it comes to starting the day. Now, we are still very wet outside on the ground, still some flooded roads, some flooding possible for the rest of the day as well. Fog is also a big concern this morning, as winds are pretty calm. Temperatures are pretty low compared to dew points. So you can see we're within a degree of that dew point at the airport. 48 outside with some light mist generally. Maybe some light sprinkles, but mostly some mist out there this morning for us. So just be aware, definitely not the most pleasant start to the day. Grab that jacket, rain gear, your kind of thing. Whatever it is, you need to stay warm for today. Although the good news is as well for today, going to get a little bit warmer for a lot of us. We're starting out in the 40s for almost everyone. We'll be seeing mostly mid to upper 50s by the afternoon. That's simply because rain is not going to be in all day like we saw yesterday. Yesterday was a little bit interesting because of that. However, we have flash flood warnings in effect for those who do see rain in that light green there, and then also some aerial flood advisories, just general flood advisories for the darker green there. And then the boxes that you see, these little boxes, these are actually river flood warnings for Reynolds County up in Jones, Shackelford counties for that Clear Fork on the Brazos. So just something to keep in mind. There's still some flooding happening and will continue to happen throughout the day today and maybe even through tomorrow. However, Futurecast does not look anywhere near as busy as it did yesterday, which is very good news for today. We also will be seeing again some scattered showers, mostly in the afternoon. So this morning, the organized rain should stay away, but heading into tonight, it's looking to be a little bit more likely that we see another round of showers, maybe a couple of storms embedded in there. So not done with rain chances yet, but the all-day rain like we saw yesterday will be leaving us for today at least. Mid-50s out there this afternoon. Because of the lack of rain, we are seeing those temperatures climb today. Mid-50s for Brownwood as well in the heartland. Chilly all day still, but rain will continue to phase out by the weekend, which is good news, and more sunshine over the weekend. However, middle parts of next week, kind of looking at our next round of showers and storms. Ron, over to you.
Thank you, Dylan. Joe Stevens is here this morning. Joe's with the Abilene Community Band, and you got a big concert coming up next week.
You bet, Ron. Thanks for having me on this morning.
Our pleasure.
We want to invite everyone in the Big Country to come out next Tuesday night to the Paramount Theater to hear our Abilene Community Band play our fall concert. And we're going to try to do some really nice things this time. We always do, of course, but we're going to have a really fine trumpet player. His name is Bob Johnson. Lives in Ranger and comes to Abilene every Monday night to play with us. But he's going to do the concertina for trumpet and band. He's fantastic. I know everyone will want to come hear him. This is also the 60th anniversary of the movie South Pacific, so we're going to do the music from that.
Oh, great, yeah.
A couple of real pretty tunes are Gene Curry's arrangement of Jesus Loves Me, and another hymn that we're going to do is just beautiful. We want to invite the audience to come out and hear that. And the Syncopated Clock from the Boston Pops Orchestra is one of the ones we'll be doing.
Oh, yeah.
So we hope it'll be a really fun concert for everyone. And I know you're going to want to get out of the house and, after all this rain, and get to go do something, fun. And I think it will be fun for you to come hear the band.
Oh, and it's a free concert.
That's right, free admission. So we want to encourage everyone, to come out and just have a good time.
May want to make a donation.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
All right, Joe. Well, thank you very much. Once again, the Abilene Community Band Fall Concert is coming up next Tuesday evening at the Paramount Theater. It's free admission there to come out and hear all the music. Should be a great night. Now let's check in with Kathleen.
All right, thanks, Ron. Our next half hour now right around the corner. Still to come, rain in Abilene and Taylor County causing several road closures, and flooding in central Texas continues. We'll show you the toll it's taking on those residents. Plus, an Abilene luncheon has a storybook ending. Then doctors are working to determine if a pregnancy complication could be an early warning sign of medical impairment. KTAB Daybreak at 6:30 coming up.
Your KTAB forecast first. Now, from your weather authority, your KTAB forecast first.
Good Thursday morning, Big Country. As you head out the door today, again, grab the rain jackets, grab the jackets to stay warm. We're not expecting as widespread or long-lasting rain as yesterday, but there still is a good chance for some more showers. There's lots of fog building in right now. That will be an issue this morning as well. Flooded streets around parts of the Big Country and Abilene for that matter. Starting out this morning in the mid to upper 40s. Still pretty chilly for this time of year. This afternoon going to get up to the mid 50s, which is a little bit warmer, but still going to be a little bit on the cool side for a lot of us with rain chances sticking around all day. However, it won't be raining all day, so that is some good news there. That's your First Bank Texas forecast first. KTAB Daybreak starts now.
With coverage you can count on. This is KTAB News Daybreak.
Good morning and welcome to KTAB Daybreak. I'm Ron Rasool.
And I'm Kathleen Barkley. Thanks for joining us here on this Thursday morning. Heavy rainfall continues to top our headlines this morning. The days of rain have saturated the ground, filled up lakes, and now running over some streets in Abilene and roads in the Big Country.
The Taylor County Sheriff's Office closed Farm Road 89 just south of Lake Abilene. The lake is full and the Sheriff's Office blocked the road after the water ran over the Elm Creek Bridge. Abilene City Street Department crews closed some streets in the city. East-South 5th Street is closed at T&P Lane. It's closed at Cal Young Park. North 10th is closed from Wall Street to Magnolia. That's in West Abilene. Corsicana closed from Fairmont to Benbrook. That's in southwest Abilene. Texas Street from the 4100 block of Grape to the 4100 block of Victoria in North Abilene is closed because of high water. And East North 10th closed from Cockrell to Green Valley Drive.
And just down the road, half of Abilene State Park closed because of flooding. This is only the third time in the last 10 years any portion of the park had to be closed. KTAB's Claire Kreitz reports from there.
With close to 8 inches of rain and counting this month alone, Lake Abilene is at 100% capacity.
Elm Creek is flooding outside of its banks, and that's causing us a little bit of problems here in the park.
With water flowing over the roads.
If the normal creek channel can handle the water, then we're okay. But as soon as it can't handle that anymore, that's when we say enough's enough.
State park officials decided to close down all camping loops on the south side of Elm Creek, relocating those campers who decided to brave the rain.
Our concern is that people are going to get in here and they're not going to be able to get back out. They're not going to be able to get their camping equipment back out. And we just don't want anybody to be stranded in a situation where it's really difficult for us to help them.
Now park officials are keeping an eye on the water levels for their safety, but also those around the park.
I think the bigger concern is that there could be impacts downstream from us, and so we're just kind of being cautious of that and preparing in case we need to help any of our neighbors.
Hoping for a break in the rain.
Until you can see the yellow lines on the roadway, we'll keep all this shut down.
So the park can reopen. In Tuscola, with coverage you can count on, Claire Kreitz, KTAB News.
And it takes about 24 hours for the water in Elm Creek to reach Abilene. That water comes through Buffalo Gap, Wiley, Abilene, and onto Lake Fork Phantom Hill.
And the rain filled up Lytle Lake. This video is from the spillway of the neighborhood lake near the intersection of Judge Ely Boulevard at East-South 11th Street. Water goes on to Cal Young Park and then on through East Abilene.
And now to Stanford, where we have new video of the lake near the Jones and Haskell County line. This video from Cedar Ridge Aviation. As much as 5 feet of water has flown over the spillway. Homes on the north side of the lake were flooded earlier this week. Flooding has also prompted some late starts for some Big Country school districts. Gym Ned campuses will be starting 2 hours late. Buses will be running 2 hours later than normal. Winners will start class at 10 o'clock this morning. Buses also running 2 hours late there. Winners has also canceled all after-school activities. You can see all weather information and sign up for emergency alerts at our website, bigcountryhomepage.com.
And the flooding continues all across central Texas. Rescuers there helping people who got stuck in their flooded cars.
Laura Podesta has the latest.
Watch as an emergency team rescues 2 men trapped in their submerged SUV, nose down in a street that had washed away. It's just one of dozens of similar rescues as rain continues to drench central Texas. At least 12 million people live in areas impacted in what has been the region's wettest fall season on record. And Mother Nature is not taking a break anytime soon.
We're expecting rain through the weekend and into next week.
This family, living 60 miles northwest of Austin, is trying to salvage what they can after floodwaters swept through their first floor.
I had a pretty good collection of vinyl records that they just don't clean up well.
Southeast of the capital, this man lives just yards away from the Colorado River. After seeing what water damage has done to his neighbors, he's not taking any chances.
Be out of here before it gets here.
When the rain finally subsides, it's expected more than a foot will have fallen in parts of central Texas.
And there have been at least 2 deaths from the central Texas flooding this week.
And you're right on time. It's now 6:33. Coming up on KTAB Daybreak, Abilene has received a national title for the work to promote children's literature and literacy. President Trump presented a medal with a wide blue ribbon to a veteran for his bravery and tenacity to save other Marines. That story is coming up in just a few minutes.
First, though, let's check back in with Dylan for another look at our forecast.
Thanks, Kathleen. As you're heading off to work or school this morning, just be aware to plan for a few extra minutes getting there because we are looking at some local flooding. Some roads are closed and blocked. We're also looking at some fog and more mist and rain continuing this morning and throughout the day today. Also grab a jacket. It's a little bit on the chilly side in the mid to upper 40s. I'll look at that forecast for today and your weekend coming up next.
Now, meteorologist Dylan Smith with your Weather Authority forecast.
I haven't seen the animals pairing off and getting into a boat yet, but I'm waiting and looking.
You just haven't looked hard enough.
Yeah,
I promise you, there are some areas where you can only get to by boat right now. And things have really been some, I wouldn't say major flooding yet, but some minor flooding happening.
Right,
parts of the big country. Some Abilene streets are closed because of the flooding, and we have some fog this morning. So all of that.
Just an added bonus.
Exactly. All of that. Plan a few extra minutes to get to work or school. Let's take a look at what's in store for today. As we are looking, Texas, again, the lucky recipient of basically the only rain in the entire U.S. happening right now, and it will last throughout the day today, so expect more rain. But the good news is, if there's any good news to more rain, it's not going to be as heavy or widespread or long lasting as yesterday. Yesterday was fairly heavy rain all day, and we did pick up almost 1 3/4 inches here in Abilene at the airport. I believe it's 1.7 here at the airport. But for today, again, this morning not as wet to start when it comes to what's currently falling, although the ground is still saturated. You can see lots of the lights reflecting off. That is still very wet ground, as well as some fog. Not necessarily the densest fog, but still some fog out there could reduce your visibilities even more on top of the rain happening. So again, not the most pleasant start. Upper 40s out there this morning with winds pretty light, less than 5 miles an hour for a lot of the big country. It's one of the reasons that fog is starting to form. If it was less breezy the last few days, it would have formed as well. But mid to upper 40s out there this morning for most of us. Temperatures will not fall today, at least not much heading into the afternoon, as we are heading back for the mid 50s today. So that is some good news as well. Lots of flood warnings in effect. The darker green here, that alley from Runnels all the way up through Haskell and Coleman, that's aerial flood advisories. Widespread flooding, not necessarily major flooding, but widespread flooding, flooding over roads, that kind of thing in effect for today as well. Flash flood watches in effect for the areas outlying that. You can see that lighter green there. And then the little boxes you see, these are river flood warnings for Jones, Haskell, Runnels County, over in Comanche County as well. Some more flood warnings for you guys. So just be aware, flooding is still a possibility today. The good news is the futurecast looking a little bit different than yesterday as well. Yesterday morning we were seeing a lot of heavier rain on top of us. This morning maybe some mist, but the organized showers should hold off most of the day today, about 30–40% for more until the evening and overnight hours tonight. So we should dodge most of the heavy rain today, at least compared to yesterday. So that is some good news in general. 40% chance of rain throughout the day, 55 degrees this afternoon. So a little bit warmer, a little bit less rain overall. Brownwood today, unfortunately, you guys also kind of about 60% chance for rain with the mid 50s this afternoon. So definitely not the most pleasant day again, but this weekend looking absolutely gorgeous heading into early parts of next week before yet again another round of showers and storms for middle parts of next week. Guys, back to the desk.
All right, thanks, Dylan. President Trump honored a veteran Wednesday for his service to the nation. The president awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor to Sergeant Major John L. Canley.
Canley was honored for his bravery and tenacity in saving other soldiers during the war in Vietnam. Our Washington Bureau correspondent Drew Petromol covered the ceremony for KTAB News.
Retired Sergeant Major John Canley betrayed no emotion as he stood at attention and became the 300th Marine to receive the nation's highest award for valor. But those who fought with him say it wasn't emotion that made him beloved. It was leadership.
John's fellow Marines have described him as a Marine warrior, and I can see it, who is bigger than life and beyond the reach of death.
In early 1968, in the Battle of Hue during the Vietnam War, Canley repeatedly risked his life to save fellow soldiers after they were surrounded.
John waged 7 straight days of unrelenting combat.
When his commanding officer was severely wounded, Canley took over, exposing himself to fire while leading attacks on enemy positions. It's not just the president who speaks about Canley's bravery. It also comes from the men who fought alongside him.
His reputation was that he never ducked, he never crawled.
In a video produced by the military, comrades talked about Canley as a man without fear.
During firefights, when we'd be all hugging Mother Earth, he'd be standing up directing us.
They say that bravery saved the lives of countless men.
All of us, the lieutenant included, literally worship the ground that he walks on.
Some of those men were at the White House Wednesday, bursting with pride as John Canley received the medal they knew he deserved. In Washington, I'm Drew Petromel.
Quite a story. John's fellow service members say he never sought recognition. He just wanted to take care of his fellow Marines.
What a great story. Our KTAB Daybreak News time now 6:42. Still ahead this morning, canines get to work in Brownwood. KTAB's Jessica Rank shows us how they're helping with fire investigations. And there's good news for people who like seafood. We'll explain when our medical headlines come up as KTAB Daybreak continues.
KTAB News Daybreak continues.
A look at Max Live radar this morning. Just be aware as you're heading out. Ground is still wet, even though the rain is mostly in the northern parts of the big country. So as you are heading out the door, I would recommend planning a few extra minutes just because we're also looking at some pretty widespread fog here in the big country and the Abilene at least. And you can see lots of wet ground out there. Roads still have a lot of water on them simply because there's nowhere for it to go, nowhere for it to soak in right now. So expect a fairly wet day ahead, as we are seeing about a 40% chance for rain, and that will keep us a little bit on the cool side this morning. Low to mid 40s, upper 40s out there, lower 50 up there for Knox City, but generally expect, again, a fairly warm afternoon. Because we aren't seeing consistent rain all day, it actually be a little bit more spotty today than yesterday, which is good news in general. Mid to upper 50s this afternoon, so you might not even need that heavy jacket by the afternoon hours. So that is also some great news. Sun's still not coming out today. That will be reserved for the weekend. I'll look at that forecast coming up in a few minutes, but first, let's send it back to the desk.
Thank you, Dylan. State Farm Insurance is working with State Fire Marshal's office to train dogs to help with fire investigations.
KTAB's Jessica Rank is in Brownwood with more.
In my eyes, she was the most beautiful dog that was there.
A man's best friend. Buddy Preston and Nika have been partners for 8 years now, sharing a bond that goes beyond a normal relationship.
She tells me she is a tool in my toolbox.
The tool? Her nose, used to help solve arson-related crimes, a trait that the Arson Dog Program Coordinator says is a superpower.
They smell in parts per trillion, way much more, way better than any human being can. So they can very effectively and efficiently go into a fire scene, locate where there may be evidence. That turns into a case, and hopefully we're able to put more arsonists behind bars. So these literally are four-legged crime fighters.
And ones that have helped solve more than 40% of arson cases. But in their off time, they're just like any other dog.
When we're at home, she gets a chance to be a dog. We play fetch in the backyard. She chases birds in the backyard.
Creating a relationship between the handler and dog that some say is unbreakable.
A lot of the handlers joke that they spend more times with their dog than they do with their family.
She's the best dog that I have ever owned in my life. And I don't own the dog owns me. We are tied together. So she's just, she's part of me and my family.
Nika. Good girl. And that course continues today there in Brownwood.
And some big changes here at the Abilene Police Department. Lieutenant Lynn Beard has retired after 20 years with APD. Lieutenant Beard was most recently in the patrol division, but has worked as an investigator in several high-profile cases. He'll now transition into another career he's passionate about. He'll be the general manager at Abilene Aero. That's not the only change, though. Detective Ernie Mascarelli has been promoted to sergeant, and Scott Hill now a lieutenant.
Abilene now is the storybook capital of America. We've been the storybook capital of Texas for a few years now, but now we have the national title for the city's work on the Children's Literacy Festival and all the sculptures at Everman Park and other areas downtown. New title was announced Wednesday at the Hearts for the Arts luncheon. October 17th is also now the Storybook Capital of America Day.
Downtown Abilene will be getting cheesy tonight. Big Brothers Big Sisters will be hosting their first ever macaroni and cheese cook-off. The Big Cheese. KTAB Stacey Wormel will be one of the judges. Local chefs will serve up their best mac and cheese recipes. It's scheduled from 6 until 8 this evening at the Abilene Convention Center. Tickets just $25 for adults, $10 for kids, and you can even get them at the door. That money all goes to help Big Brothers Big Sisters of Abilene.
Researchers say they need more information on some new spaces for babies to sleep, and doctors working to determine if a complication of pregnancy could be an early warning sign of mental impairment.
Kenneth Craig has today's medical headlines.
Cardboard baby boxes are being promoted as a good sleeping space for infants, but UK researchers are warning there's no evidence they're safe or reduce sudden infant death syndrome or SIDS. They say more research is needed on the safety of these boxes. New research shows a link between eating seafood and healthy aging. A U.S. study finds an association between higher blood levels of omega-3 fatty acids found in seafood and a higher likelihood of healthy aging of older adults. And women with a history of preeclampsia may have a higher risk of some types of dementia later in life. Preeclampsia is a life-threatening condition related to high blood pressure and other complications during pregnancy. Researchers say more study is needed to understand the possible impact of pregnancy on blood vessels in the brain. Those are some of today's top health stories. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, New York.
Nicole Kidman has a new thriller. Peter Jackson is wowing audiences, and Taylor Swift is talking politics.
And David Daniel has our entertainment headlines in today's Hollywood Minute.
I'm mad. I'm still mad. It's burned a circuit in my brain.
Here's your first look at a barely recognizable Nicole Kidman in Destroyer, as a police detective haunted by a long-ago undercover assignment. Destroyer hits theaters December 25th.
Sikkim Italian were virtually obliterated within minutes.
Peter Jackson has another hit. The World War I documentary They Shall Not Grow Old made an estimated $731,000 in just one night, playing on 247 screens in the UK. Jackson used modern production technology to colorize century-old black and white footage and convert it to 3D. The strong response is prompting talks about a wider release. Taylor Swift made headlines recently with a rare political statement believed to prompt some thousands of people to register to vote. Now she's working to get them to the polls. On Instagram, Swift urged fans to vote early in the U.S. midterm elections, posting a link to an early voting calendar and a photo of her feet with her toenails painted a patriotic and nonpartisan red, white, and blue. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
I think I'll try that.
Painting your toenails?
Yeah. See if it gets people to the polls.
There you go.
We have less than 10 minutes until 7 o'clock. It's 6:52. We'll wrap up today's top stories coming up.
And Dylan will have another look at our weather forecast, and we'll show you the exciting finish to last night's Major League Baseball playoff game in Houston. Stay with us as KTAB Daybreak continues.
I'm John Dickerson. Coming up, Nora talks with former Vice President Joe Biden about the midterm elections and his possible plans for 2020. Coming up on CBS This Morning. I'm John Dickerson. Coming up, Nora talks with former Vice President Joe Biden about the midterm elections and his possible plans for 2020. Coming up on CBS This Morning.
Before we join CBS This Morning, here's a look at our top stories. All that rain from the last couple of weeks has sent some creeks out of their banks. Taylor County Sheriff's officers closed Farm Road 89 south of Buffalo Gap.
And that stormwater filled up Lytle Lake. It's rushing over the spillway of the neighborhood lake in southeast Abilene.
And Abilene now is the storybook capital of the nation for our work for children's literacy.
And looking at Max Live radar this morning, just be aware, temperatures are a little bit on the cold side again, but the rain chances are a little bit further down than yesterday. Only about 40% chance for showers today rather than the 80% we saw yesterday. However, looking at Skycam this morning, fog is building in, so factor in if you can. It might be a little late now, but factor in a few minutes extra to get to work and school just because the roads are still a little bit flooded in some spots, plenty of rain chances to go around, and the cooler temperatures just in general. Mid to upper 40s for almost everybody. Temperatures today will get back up to the mid 50s, upper 50s for some. That just depends on how much rain we see today, but about 40%. It's about half as much as yesterday, with yesterday seeing a lot more heavier rain. Today going to be mostly light rain and mist like we're seeing right now. By the weekend, expect a big change in a good way. We're back up in the mid to upper 60s, maybe near 70 by Saturday. Rain chances generally on the forecast for early parts of next week, but middle of next week, well, we'll talk about that later.
Baby steps to get back up to that sunshine,
yes,
though.
that it is.
All right. Well, before we leave you this morning, a pretty exciting finish to last night's Major League Baseball playoff game in Houston. Boston Red Sox leading the game 8-6 with the bases loaded in the bottom of the 8th.
And 2 outs, bases loaded when the Astros batter Alex Bregman hit the line drive to left field. The Red Sox outfielder Andrew Benintendi raced up, caught the ball for the last out of the game.
The Red Sox now lead the series 3-1. Game 5 is scheduled tonight in Houston. It's a pretty heated race right now.
Yeah, quite a catch. It's a shame for Astros fans, but
yeah,
he caught the ball.
Chance.
Yeah,
one more chance. There we go.
Got to win tonight. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. For information on the stories in this newscast, go to BigCountryHomepage.com. Click on KTAB TV News.
CBS This Morning's coming up next. We'll be back at 7:26 with the latest news and weather.
Until then, have a great Thursday.